What's up, everyone? Curtis here with another episode of Everything Entrepreneurial. In this episode, I'm speaking with Karen Bowers. Karen runs a Home Pampering, where she brings professional salon treatments and products directly to her customers. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Cool. Well, thanks very much, Karen, for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate you taking that time out of your day. So if you could just introduce yourself and what you do, please.
Hi, Curtis. Thanks a million for having me. My name is Karen Bowers, and I own and run a company called Home Pampering. And what we are is we are a mobile beauty service provider. So we go to the likes of houses, hospitals, nursing homes, hotels, corporate offices, and we bring the beauty services to the client at their client's location.
Brilliant. So how did you get into this mobile salon, I suppose?
To be honest with you, Curtis, I actually think it kind of found me. I just felt I needed something else. I just needed something different. And I was just chatting to my husband one of the days, and he just says to me, which is like, we look for a few courses, and I was kind of thinking the beauty therapy, and I have a sister as well who's also a beauty therapist. We actually did a course together. And so Pam and I were just chatting. So it kind of literally just happened synchronistically, to be honest with you. It wasn't something I set up to do. And the funny thing is, when I was actually in secondary school, my two best friends in school both left secondary school and went to become beauticians. And I remember the career guidance teacher saying to me, would you not go and do that? I was like, no, I have absolutely no interest whatsoever. So so that's kind of really how it came about. It kind of found me more so.
Cool. What were you interested in growing up if you weren't into the beauty and stuff? Like, what was your interest in school?
I literally just went to school because I had to go to school. I literally, I liked kind of going for the bit of crack and the chats with the mates and stuff like that. I certainly wasn't an overachiever or overly academic. I didn't fail subjects or anything like that, but I literally just did the bare minimum to kind of get through. From an interest point of view, I can't really remember. I used to love playing football and things like that. The few of us would used to there was a big group of us, and we used to always kind of play football on the green outside. And then, I'm 42 years of age. So it's kind of back then there was very, very little for us to do. So we kind of had to find our own mischief, for want of a better word. But it was literally just kind of, I'm from, I grew up in Skerries in North County Dublin. So we used to just kind of walk around Skerries or up around the head, and just nothing major. I wouldn't have had anything kind of,
Same as myself, yeah. And when you were growing up, did you have any influence, or was there anyone in your family maybe that had their own business that you might have thought of, like, oh geez, I'd like to do something like that myself one day?
Never.
No?
I as far as I'm aware, I'm the eldest of 6 children. And between, let's say, my aunts and my uncles on my parents' side, I am the only one who would be self-employed. Back then anyway, it's since changed. But from what I don't think I had even like extended family of cousins or anything like that who would have been, the entrepreneur. I suppose I came from a working class background, kind of, we weren't lower class, but we weren't exactly middle class either. So, you got your education, you got a job, and you went out to work and you provided for your family. That would have been something that would have been driven home to us quite a lot. So I suppose with that, when you were an employee, you're always guaranteed, to have your bit of work and you get your wage at the end of the day. But when you're self-employed, there's absolutely no guarantee if you're going to get paid any week, So no, it was never talked about or anything like that. So I don't even know where the entrepreneurial side of things came into place for me at all, actually.
I'm always fascinated to find out like where this kind of spark in someone's mind was like, oh geez, maybe I could give that a go, maybe I could be self-employed, maybe I could start a business. But you can never really knuckle it down, can you, to find out what it was?
Well, back then, absolutely not. But I think maybe as I got older, I had a couple of negative experiences in the workforce. And in one of them, it was actually quite bad that, I was suffering like huge stress, and I actually nearly miscarried my son as a result of the stress of it. And I just remember saying to my husband at the time, I said, you know what, I really don't want to go back to work. And I think that could be one of the reasons why I decided to become self-employed, is because I'm not answerable to anybody. Nobody has, any kind of say over what I do on any given day, and nobody can give out to me, that kind of way. I'm not answerable to anybody. So I think maybe when I was about maybe 28, 29, it's probably when, that started the idea started to come to me then. And I kind of went back then and trained as a beauty therapist.
Yeah, I think I can relate to that myself. I think it's a control thing, but in a good way. Like, you want to control your time, you want to feel accountable, you want to feel responsible for a business. It gives you so many other benefits than just monetary, that way. So
yeah,
yeah, that's
and you
pretty
just don't
cool.
want to feel crap about yourself either, because when you're working in, let's say, in not all environments, but some environments, if you're having to deal with like different personalities and maybe some not so nice people, and bullying might be an issue as well, like that really kills your confidence. And just for me, it was just not having to deal with any of that kind of crap. The book stopped with me when I set up my own business. I wasn't answerable to anybody, so that to me, I think probably was the driving force, more so than earning the few bob or anything like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, you wanted to earn the few bob, but it wasn't. It was about happiness thing for me, and for definitely a bit of control there as well, and just not having to answer to anybody and not feel crap about myself anymore.
Yeah. And when you started your business, it was 2009, was it? 2009, you started your business. How did you feel, like, mentally, I suppose, like when you're starting your first business for your first time? Like, I remember I only started my business 3 years ago, shaking like a leaf, didn't really know what I was doing. Did you experience similar things when you were starting back then?
No, to be honest with you, I literally, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I actually did not realize it was going to be as successful as it has been. I was completely naive. So when I set up the business, I was then after having my third child. And so at the time it was like, okay, I just worked a few hours in the morning while he's at play school. He had turned 3. So he was in play school from, let's say, 9:30 to 12:30 or something like that, Monday to Thursday. So in my mind, it was just a few hours in the morning when he's at play school. And literally within a year, I just started getting mad phone calls, and nursing homes started contacting me. We need an on-site beauty salon and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh God. So it literally kind of grew legs and walked, and I was not kind of behind it at all with regards to, I wasn't pushing myself. I wasn't doing a huge amount of advertising. I wasn't, telling the world and their mothers about the business. It literally just kind of happened
Organically, I suppose.
I don't know, serendipitous or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So from a nervous point of view, no, I wouldn't have been very nervous. But then I suppose as the responsibility started to grow a little bit, and business expenses started to kind of come to play, I would have then kind of gotten nervous. But that probably would have been about 3 years into the business, because obviously, to run a business, you need to have a certain amount coming in to pay for the business, as well as give yourself a wage, So yeah, there was definitely times like that, but it wasn't at the starting point. It was more so the few years in.
Yeah, and so if you fast forward to those times when you first experienced that kind of struggle, I suppose, managing everything, because as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you wear many hats. How did you manage your own stress levels? Like, do you focus on, like, I don't know, meditation, or do you do exercise? Like, how do you kind of manage that for yourself?
So if you were to ask my husband that question, he'd probably say I didn't manage my stress at all. To be honest with you, I'm definitely, I probably put myself more into the business just to try for it to succeed. I wouldn't have been very active exercise wise. I still can't get into mindfulness and meditation. I'm not one of those people just yet. So I think for me, like, I was lucky enough, like, I had a very supportive husband. We had 3 children. I had other things to kind of keep me going as well. And then that would have been 2012-ish. And then I actually have a very good client who participated in the London Olympics, Paralympics. She's legally blind. And she was doing a TV show called Beyond Limits for the 2012 marathon. Not marathon, 2012 Olympics in London. And the crowd that were recording that were a crowd called Athenia Media, and they were actually then recording another program in 2013 called Get Off the Couch. And I actually was a participant on that. So with that, I think that's kind of what started my journey down kind of from the exercise point of view. So Get Off the Couch, it aired in 2013, but it basically brought us literally, as the title says, couch potato to, you know, moving about. So we would have done things like, you know, triathlon, climbed Carrauntoohil, rafting, running, swimming, the whole lot. Yeah. So it was recorded over, let's say, a 10-month period, and then it was condensed down to 6 weekly episodes. So yeah, so I kind of did that in 2013, and then kind of my love of exercise then continued. So, you know, I went on and did, like, you know, the Dublin Marathon and all of the other race series and things like that. So yeah, so kind of again, the exercise thing came back a couple of years after that again. So I am obviously a bit behind everybody else when they're finding things to do, and, you know, when they're kind of experiencing what they need to experience in their business. I'm a little bit behind everybody, but sure, anyway.
You sound like a super trooper, and anyway, that's no
bother. Oh, I don't know about that now. Thank you.
So tell us then anyway about you started your business, and you kind of found it all right. It was kind of growing organically. Were you used to putting on different hats every day, you know, looking after the accounting, looking after the marketing, selling yourself? Like, how did you manage all that, and how did you learn those skills? Was it just through practice?
Yeah, I actually, that would have been something I would have found kind of quite hard. I wouldn't be great at delegating at all. It's kind of like, rather than showing someone how to do something, I'll just do it myself, I'd be quicker. So that's something I really struggled with for years and years and years. For me, yeah, you're not only the grafter providing the beauty treatments, but yeah, as you said, you're the receptionist, you're on internet, or the social media and all of those other hats. I suppose what I tried to do is, I suppose I was lucky enough that I started the business off small enough. So it wasn't like I was kind of jumping into a full-time business immediately where all of these responsibilities came with it. So as my business grew, the responsibilities grew. So I just kind of tried to do what I could do at that time. But I remember like pulling the kids in to help me and stuff like that. Like, so, you know, for example, the year-end accounts, like, you know, I have pictures of, you know, the children around my massage bed and like organizing receipts and date order and things like that. Or my little lad Rory, who's now actually 15, but he probably would have been about 7 or 8 at the time, out hosing down my spray tan tent and things like that. So I kind of tried to do little things like that, but obviously not taking advantage of them. And then Jerry's actually my husband, he's very good. So when it kind of came to the likes of, you know, obviously the equipment that I'm using, I always have to make sure it's safe and stuff like that. Like, you know, I'd make sure, I'd ask him, you know, would you just check the screws on that bed to make sure that they're still secure and things like that. So I kind of delegated that side of stuff. And then kind of on and off over the years, you know, I would have hired people maybe to run the social media for a little while, or, you know, maybe do a MailChimp thing for a little while. And then I would have had a personal assistant there about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. She used to just come once a month and help me with the account side of things. And she actually went going full time in her main job, so she had to leave me, unfortunately. But even her setting up the system that she set up, I'm still using that to this day. So that's kind of helping. But to be honest with you, Curtis, I think it's like a learning curve. Like the stuff I do nowadays is not the same stuff that I would have done early on in the business, you know. So I think it's constantly evolving and changing. And you, as a business owner, you need to change and evolve with your business as well. Because I'm definitely, like, even some of the clients I would have had in the early days, they wouldn't be with me now. Now, I am lucky enough, I do have a good chunk of them who are with me like 10 years or so. But, you know, things change all the time in business. The fluidity and the fastness and the beauty industry constantly changes as well. So you kind of have to move with the times and the changes.
Definitely, yeah. I think as an entrepreneur, you have to be the first one to always be innovating, looking constantly on the lookout to see what you can be doing better, improving your service, improving processes, whatever it is. You always need to be improving to stay successful and to stay in business. Totally agree with you.
Absolutely.
Quick question. Your son is 15 years old. Does he have any interest in going down the business route? Has he seen his mammy and been like, geez, I'd like to do something like that myself? Or is he not even considering it?
No. In fairness, I have 3 children. So my daughter, my eldest daughter, she's 23. She's actually a journalist for a well-known Irish newspaper. So she had absolutely no interest in the beauty, because I remember when she was in secondary school, asking her, do you think you might follow in the family footsteps? And she was like, no. She says, I'm not touching anybody's feet, that kind of way. And then Lee, my middle child, I've often said to him, God, would you become a massage therapist? Because he actually loves the massage side of things, receiving more so than giving. And he was just like, nah. So no, none of them, like the three of them, are just zero interest at all, like, in the beauty industry or the business. Now, as my business evolves and changes, because I have a couple of things in place in the pipeline in the few years kind of heading up, that might change. But no, from a kind of the grafter point of view, doing the beauty treatments and things like that, no. Now, mind you, my husband often jokes that if I need a help doing spray tans, he'll give me a hand. But I'm like, no.
Of course he would, yeah.
But other than that, no, none of them are interested.
Yeah, I asked because I'm about to have my first child with my partner in July, and you were telling me about these little stories. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
You're telling me about your
brilliant
stories and the memories, and I was like, oh, that would be brilliant. In my own life with my family, I'd like to have little memories like that. And then I wonder if they would get into like business, because me and my partner are in this business that we run together. I was like, I wonder if they would or not. It's always something that I think about. But yeah, it would be nice to have. So tell us anyway. So what you do now is you work with nursing homes, you work with corporate. Do you actually go out to residential as well?
Yeah. So kind of, I still have a few clients who have been around a long time. So a lot of the residential clients I would have would be people who actually need me to go to them for whatever reason. So some of them might, be wheelchair bound or bed bound, so they're not sick enough for, let's say, a hospital or a nursing home, that they're still in the family home. But obviously they still like to look after themselves. So yeah, and then I would have, let's say, a few ladies who might have just maybe had new babies or young kids and they can't get to a beauty salon, so I pop out to them. And then I just have ladies who just love the idea of getting their few bits and pieces done in their house. So it's kind of like three categories of residential clients I would have. So yeah, so it's actually, it's quite fun, and I love it because no one day is the same, no one conversation is the same. And I think there's something quite personal about me going to them, so that the relationship I would have with them would be different compared to a relationship they might have if they're going to their local beauty salon. So you're on their turf for starters. You kind of know all of their bits and pieces. You get to meet their husband and the children's and the cats and the dogs and everything else, where you wouldn't have that kind of relationship, let's say, if they were going to a beauty salon. So it's a completely different service relationship from a personal point of view compared to a salon. Yeah, but the treatments themselves now would be very same, like it's still salon quality treatments for salon quality products and everything else. But yeah, the relationships are vastly different, which is lovely. It's actually lovely. I get invited to weddings and christenings and birthday parties and everything.
Jesus,
so it's great.
That's brilliant.
Have a great social life.
Filling up the
pre-COVID, mind you.
Oh, I suppose, yeah, actually, maybe we could steer into that, and you could tell us a little bit about how you managed your business through COVID and how that experience was for you.
Yeah, so lockdown number one, the 12th of March, it was actually my 41st birthday when the country went into lockdown. So I remember I was working in St. Pat's Mental Health Hospital. I have an on-site salon in there every Thursday. And I was in there, and the lady who was kind of oversees me, she said, oh, we actually have to close. So I was like, all right, okay. So I went home. And to be honest with you, I kind of thought maybe it was just a hospital environment thing, just maybe naivety on my part. I'm not sure, but I was not expecting like the country to go into it like a full down lockdown. And I think it was by the Saturday, I was like, okay, we're in trouble here, lads, So I'll be fully honest with you, Curtis, the first lockdown, I loved it. I had been working so hard and so long and constantly for like 10 years at that stage. And I was only really ever getting my 2 weeks off during the year, so I wasn't kind of getting my week off of Christmas or Easter or any of those, or days off here and there. So I was working quite hard. So for me, it was kind of like my body was grateful, like, you can relax now. And I really did enjoy it. Now, I have to say, I really did enjoy it. Did lots of different things, like, just kind of training and stuff like that, and just pottering about the house, and the most leisureliest thing of, coming down for a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe not having your shower till 11 a.m. or whatever. was unheard of previously to that, you know. So yeah, the first one was grand. And then we went back to work then in the July. I went back in the July, 3 weeks after my industry was opened. And yeah, worked that around as well. It was great. It was quite hard. I wasn't, let's say, I was busy, but not as busy as, you know, I could have been, because at that stage the nursing homes were still closed. You know, I was literally only doing some residential, and St. Pat's, all corporates had closed down as well. My wedding industry had closed down because I'm obviously a bridal makeup artist as well, so only certain elements of my business was open. But listen, it was enough to keep me going, keep the head straight, you know, kind of just doing what I had to do, just put the head down and kind of got busy. From a mental health point of view, when we closed out that 6 weeks, I was a little bit up and down, more up than I was down, but I definitely started to see myself dip a little bit. And then obviously we were allowed to open for the first 3 weeks of December, which was great, get the Christmas trade in, absolutely flat to the mat for those full 3 weeks. And then obviously then we closed again then in December. So I have to say, I found the most recent one the hardest one of them all. I am quite an upbeat, positive person, and I always kind of, the glass is always half full with me, you know. But I did find that very, very hard, mental health wise, was just like, oh, just,
it was just the fatigue, I suppose, of it all. And it's
do you know what? It was just, there was a lot of emotion. I wouldn't even be necessarily a crier too much, but I was crying a lot, and nothing in particular. Like, I kept on reminding myself, like, my husband, he was still working. My daughter was working from home. 2 boys, they were on school, in and out of school, depending on when the schools were open. Nobody we knew, close family wise, you know, one person we know got COVID, but thankfully he was fine. But from a family point of view, everybody was fine, everybody was healthy. So in one way, I was like, Karen, you have nothing to be, you know, upset about or giving out about, you know. But I did find it very hard. January kind of was hard. So I kind of just, I suppose I kept myself busy with January. I did this thing where I worked on 3 pillars. So every day I chose something from the 3 pillars. So the 3 pillars represented, one of them, I can't fully remember the name of them now, but something could have been, let's say, work related, education related, and maybe something for myself. And I kind of used to choose 2 to 3 of those every single day from each pillar, just to kind of give myself something to do, nearly to kind of, you know, have a reason to get up in the morning. So that was great in January. And then February was my most emotional month. I lost a huge amount of clients, unfortunately, who had passed, a mixture of COVID and heart failure and cancer and the whole lot. So the month of February, it was Netflix, chocolate, and copious amount of tea. It's just, as well, I'm not a big drinker, because I would have been joining AA, you know, that kind of way. So I was just like, no, I just like, yeah. So February was very hard. And then kind of March, I started to come around again. Well, like, I was speaking to a lot of different people who own their own businesses and friends who might be still working from home. And, you know, I suppose to know that I wasn't on my own there, and that everybody was having these really highs and really low lows, kind of made me feel a little bit better. You know, I tried to, you know, look after my mental health as much as possible. Like, you know, so there's loads of baths being had, loads of walking, podcasts, like, you know, huge amount of podcast listening as well. You know, reading books, trying to just improve myself, but like from a self-confidence point of view, but as well as a business point of view. So I just tried to do whatever I could do just to kind of get through it the best way I could. And yeah, that's all you could do, really, you know, that kind of way. Everything, I kept on reminding myself, everything was out of my control. Like, you know, it's not as if I had any control in this. It's not as if I decided, right, I'm not opening my doors again. That would be my decision, and it would be my issue then. But being told that we can't actually open our doors again. So I think that had a little bit, knowing that it was out of my control. So I suppose going back to that old phrase, control what you can control, and, you know, that's it. You can't control the uncontrollable side of things. So that's what I tried to do.
Yeah, it sounds, and you feel, like you said, you filled your day up with things that gave you some sort of purpose, and like whether it was education or whatever it was, something for yourself, running a bath or going on a walk, like that's all very important, and it's a good strategy to have, you know, that way. Cool. So can you tell us a little bit about what is in your plans for the next 6 to 12 months? You said you might have a new project. So I have a couple of things.
Yeah, a couple of things. So At Home Pampering is actually like a mobile beauty service, as I had mentioned earlier on. And one of the issues I came across earlier on in my business was, because I didn't have let's say, a shop front or premises, I found it very, very hard to get professional skincare brands. So like years ago, I would have tried all of the salon brands that you would find. So the likes of, your Yonka, your Image, your Dermalogica, all of them. And, at the time they were like, no, you're mobile, we can't have that, because let's say they might have in catchment areas. So if I'm, let's say, in Swords, for example, where I live, and let's say if there's a salon that's already got Image, I wouldn't be allowed to do Image facials in that range,
Right.
so things like that. So it was a catch area and encatchment area. So kind of over the years, I was just like, skincare is one of my passions. And I was just like, oh no, I'd love to do this. No, I'd love to do this. I need to do something. And I actually was planning to launch my own skincare brand. And I had the design done, the logo done, the products done. It was one of these white label companies in the UK, had everything done. And then literally at the 12th hours, it was like the ad from Little Britain, the bank says no. And I'm just like, oh no. So anyway, I kind of just scrapped that on the head, but like the skincare thing was still there. So last year in the lockdown, I actually approached Dermalogica again. And obviously they're aware with businesses changes that they were going to have to change their front as well. So At Home Pampering became the first mobile beauty company in Ireland that Dermalogica said yes to. So I am now stocking and selling and doing like the Dermalogica facials. I got my expert status there in Dermalogica there last month in May. So I suppose with Dermalogica, it's all about education, but also, educating your client as well as the therapist on the best products that's available for your skin. And then they're constantly, creating new products and, innovative products as well. So one of the fields that I'm kind of going into now is that I want to really focus on making skincare affordable to people, but not necessarily getting them up in the bed and I'm doing slapping stuff on their face and this and the others, to actually educate them as I'm doing it. So I'm in the process of kind of, developing, and again, some salons are already doing this, but it's new to me, developing online skin consultations, where, we have an in-depth conversation. They'd fill out an in-depth consultation form. We'd have a conversation then over to like Zoom or something, or WhatsApp. And then I would prescribe them then the products that I think would suit their skin, and then kind of have follow-ups. So that's kind of one direction that I'm going in as well. So I'm currently updating my website at the moment to have e-commerce. So I'm in the process of getting the Dermalogica products put up on it. So luckily enough, they said yes, I have been approved, but the site isn't allowed to go live just yet because I have a few T's to cross and I's to dot, that kind of way. So that's kind of the website is kind of going to be a big launch. So I suppose I want to kind of bring, what this year taught me was, I think as a society, we love going out to our beauty salons and stuff like that. And I don't think we realize the importance of personal grooming, whether it's getting our hair colored or getting our nails done, or even getting the lip or the chin hair wax, whatever the scenario is. And from all of the women I've spoken to over the last year, a lot of them have, felt really crap in themselves that they haven't been able to get their bits and pieces done. So I kind of want to try and create a place where I actually will be teaching them how to actually do some of these bits and pieces themselves at home. So so that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment, is just developing those little trainings and getting the website up and running. And it means then that people can kind of, order their bits and pieces off that as well. So I'd love to be the next maybe Beauty Bay or, Cloud9 Beauty or one of those where you can kind of just go online and then just order the bits and pieces.
So you'd be doing online consultations, and then you're going to be implementing an e-commerce store for that part of your business, and you can sell the Dermalogica products. Sounds all very exciting. Now, Karen, if we want to send anyone your way, where can they find you online? Where do you hang out? Are you on Facebook, Instagram, your website even? Where can people
no problem
go and find
you? So the website is called athomepampering.ie. I am on Instagram as At Home Pampering. I try to be active, but I'm still a little bit shy over on Instagram. But I'd love the follows. And then if anybody has a public profile, I'll return the follow. But if it's private, I don't, because I want to respect people's privacy. And then I have a Facebook page called At Home Pampering as well. And then I also have a Facebook group called Karen Bowers At Home Pampering Shop /tips, I think it's called. And then that's kind of used where I go in there live a little bit, and I would kind of show them the bits and pieces of either products or stuff. So it's not necessarily a selling platform, but yet sales does happen through it. It's more an informative platform. So yeah, if anybody wants to join that group, then they can as well. And so the beauty treatments, I'm based in Swords, North County Dublin. I cover the majority of North County Dublin, a little bit further on depending on what's being booked. And yeah, we do one-to-one services as well as pamper parties or hen parties, bridal makeup, absolutely everything. We do it all.
We do it all. Yeah, that's it.
We do it all. Yeah, that could be my new slogan.
Well, Karen, once again, thanks very much for taking your time to come on the podcast. I enjoyed chatting with you, and I look forward to watching you online and see our business grow.
Lovely, Curtis. Thanks a million for taking the time as well today with me. Thank you.
No problem.